Hey guys, I'm back with another reading lesson, and I want to talk about the characters again and how we can learn about our characters by noticing their relationships with other characters. Just like in the movie Toy Story, some might say that Woody is the main character, but you can't forget about Andy or Rex or Mr. Potato Head or Buzz Lightyear. In the movie Frozen, everybody loves Elsa, but you can't forget about Anna and Olaf and Prince Hans and Sven and Kristoff, and you learn about the main character through their relationships with the other characters in the story. You never really know the main character without knowing their friends and their families. So good readers don't just get to know the main character or the character who's the star of the story, they get to know the other characters too. And those other characters are called the secondary characters. And when you learn about the other characters or the secondary characters, you end up learning a lot of information about the main character in the story. So let's look at Mr. Putter and Tabby dropped the ball. And last time we read chapter 1, so we're going to look at chapter 2. And remember, we learned about a lot of things about Mr. Putter in chapter 1 and Tabby. Chapter 2 says the team. And here's the picture in the team of the team. And it says, Mr. Putter found his mitt. Now all we need is a team, he told Tabby. Mr. Putter called his friend and neighbor, Mrs. Teaberry. So in chapter 1, we learned that Mr. Putter and Tabby like to take naps and that he has an old mitt, he wants to play baseball, and he has a cat named Tabby. But who else is in the story? Who does Mr. Putter know? Does he have any friends and family? And I think we just found somebody, Mrs. Teaberry. And I believe that's probably who he's talking on the phone to. It says Mrs. Teaberry would know about a team. She was very sporty. Maybe that's why Mr. Putter called her for advice. That's making an inference. Mrs. Teaberry's very sporty. She knows a lot about sports. So maybe that's why Mr. Putter called her for advice. She even walked a dog-a-thon with her good dog Zeke. So we learned that Mrs. Teaberry also has a dog named Zeke. She's very sporty and she has a dog named Zeke. Of course there's a team, said Mrs. Teaberry. It's called the Yankee Doodle Dandies. Am I too old to play? Asked Mr. Putter. Heavens no, said Mrs. Teaberry, handing Zeke a sniffy bone. You will feel young on that team. So Mr. Putter thinks that he's too old to play baseball. And Mrs. Teaberry said that he's not too old, that he can play baseball and he might even feel younger than the people on the team. What do you think that tells you about their friendship, Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry? Are they good friends? It sounds like that they're pretty good friends, and Mrs. Teaberry sounds like a good friend because she's trying to cheer up Mr. Putter because he feels bad about being too old to play on the team. On the next page, will my knees feel young on that team? Asked Mr. Putter. Oh, so he feels too old to play baseball because his knees are old. You are not too old and neither am I, said Mrs. Teaberry. We'll both play. So Mrs. Teaberry doesn't think she's too old either to play baseball. Mr. Putter hung up the phone. I hope I'm not too old, he said to Tabby. And Tabby just purred. To her, Mr. Putter was perfect. And look how Mr. Putter is smiling in this picture on the last page of the chapter. I think Mrs. Teaberry cheered him up. And Mrs. Teaberry sounds very excited to play baseball. She has a smile on her face, too. So remember that we learned a lot about Mrs. Teaberry, but we also learned about Mr. Putter by learning about his relationship with Mrs. Teaberry. And remember, you can study the pictures, not just the words. So remember, to learn about the characters in your books, you need to pay attention to their relationships with other characters. You can study the pictures and the words. In the pictures, how did the characters look? Are they happy to be together? The author gives us lots of clues, and you need to do a little thinking and be a detective and put all the clues together and think to yourself, what does this tell me about the character? Okay, now you try it in your books, and I'll see you next time.